My name is Jessica Brown and I have a son called Stanley. Stanley is 19 months now and he has PKU.
My name's Gemma Hall and my little girl is called Emily Trainer. She's 11 months old. She's a bit of a character already. We love her to bits.
My name's Lisa. I've got a little girl who's 5 years old with PKU. She's called Aoife. This is my little grown-up here.
My name is Aoife and I'm 5 years old and I want to be a grown-up.
Hi, I'm Jo and I've got a little boy called Alfie and he's 8.
My name is Alfie, I am 8 years old and I want to be a football referee.
A nurse came to our house and told us the diagnosis and what it entailed, but we'd never heard of it before, so we were upset and shocked. I was breastfeeding Stanley up until he was 10 days old with a top-up of formula. The dietitian said we're going to give him some special milk.
First out, I was lucky enough to be able to breastfeed. I didn't think I would be able to, but we were reassured that I'd still be able to carry on doing that with the introduction of the formula milk, and the breast milk would be an exchange, which was good because I could still carry on giving her the breast milk. We
felt relieved straight away that he was given some medicine. He would have a certain amount of special milk and a certain amount of formula milk, depending on what his blood levels were. It was a bit difficult at first getting used to the amount of bottles and the breast milk and expressing that as well, and going out I found a little bit daunting, but we carried on until 5.5 months with breastfeeding and formula, and I think she got the benefit of both. We were introduced that gel would replace to some extent the special milk, because as he grew he would need a higher concentrate of the medicine, so the medicine would deliver a big concentration of it in a smaller amount, otherwise you'd have to drink bottles and bottles and bottles of milk. From an early age we were prepped what the next stages were around weaning and what we would need to do, and then around 5.5 months she started with the gel. It was around 10 grams to start with. A lot of health visitors were keen for us to wait to wean, whereas we were told by the dietitian it was important that he learnt the taste of his gel before it got to a point too late for him to accept it.
With Aoife's gel that she takes to control her diet, we tend to call it paste. That's what we've called it since she was little, and it's stuck really. When Aoife was about 6 months old, just as we started weaning her onto more solid food, the paste was introduced. I was obviously a little bit nervous at first. It was something new to me and something new to her. I obviously listened to what my dietitian was telling me, hints and tips, and to be honest, it went really well at the start.
Alfie was around 6 months old when he started on his PKU gel. I was a little apprehensive and nervous. Obviously it was something different, but he was fine.
Come on then. Do you want to come in here?
I didn't have any negative thoughts of him having it, because it was just, this is what the next step in his development will be. He needs this. This will help him to grow and to be what he's meant to be. So when we were first told that we would need to give her the gel and we first attempted to give her the gel, I was a little bit worried about whether she would take to it, but she really enjoyed it. I was surprised by the taste originally and wondered whether she would take it, but of course she was used to that from the formula, so she took to it really well. That put my mind at rest, and I would say that wasn't as stressful as I was thinking it would be. The dietitian came round to our house and showed us, this is how you get the scales, put the pot on. It was like a step-by-step guide of how to make up the gel. It was like a 3-course meal. Every meal he would have gel, then he would have some free food, and then he would have start to have some exchanges added in.
The only difficulties I would say that we come across was if when she was teething, I can remember that was quite a difficult time. I think with any child in general when they're teething, they're off their food, so it was a bit of a struggle some days to get this paste down her.
We have had some problems with the gel. Teething time, it started. I think we were lulled into a bit of a false sense of security when Amelie took to it so well at the start. When the teething started or when she was a little bit poorly, we did struggle to get it in, and that made me quite anxious at times and a little bit worried.
When he hasn't wanted the gel, when he's been teething, we have offered it in a syringe, the same as the Calpol is delivered through a syringe. And we found a syringe with a little nib at the end. If you can position it just behind his teeth, it misses the gums and it will just go straight down instead of it stinging. We always offer the spoon first, but if he does the lips clamped together and he's shaking his head and saying no, then we quickly have a syringe ready and offer it that way.
I think the syringe helped because we were able to sort of put the gel to the side of her mouth and avoid the ulcer, and the same with the teething. That helped when we were avoiding the teeth area and the gums area. I think she was just interested in having something different in her mouth as well, so it was a good distraction tactic.
It was all pretty much okay unless Alfie was poorly. It wasn't very good with a sore throat, as it irritated it, or if he was sick, it took a lot longer to get into him than it would if it was well.
And other times if she was ill, like tummy bugs, things like that, those days were quite tough. It meant that we had to slow down. There were lots of patients involved, having to feed her in tiny, small amounts, and just being persistent really and keep going at it all day.
If he was unwell, it was a case of just sitting there and little and often and persevering.
Wow, thanks.
I knew that I could ring our dietitian and speak to them about any issues that I had around giving her the gel and what to do to help around the time of teething and if she wasn't taking it. So I took those tips on board and was able to get through those more difficult times. But what I would say is that's always a bit of a roller coaster. She's been ill recently. Whenever she's ill, we know that it will go back to being normal. At a point in time, we've just got to persevere with it, and it's important to just stay calm, get the advice that we've needed at the time.
When Alfie was getting ready to start school, I was a little bit nervous because it had only really been myself and my mum that gave him his protein substitute, so I know it was always done on time and he'd had the correct amount. But the dietitians from the hospital went in, explained everything to the teacher, and I haven't had a problem. They knew what they had to do, what time they had to give him, and yeah, it was all good.
I work, so there are occasions where someone else has to give Aoife her paste. I won't lie, I was, racked with nerves. I thought, how am I going to be able to, sort of control this? Are the teachers going to know what they're doing? Are they going to remember to give her a paste every day? Because I've always controlled it up until that point, so it was difficult for me to pass that over to somebody else. I'll try and make it as easy as possible for them, have it prepared. They understand that it's important, but because Eva's so good at taking it, to be honest, there's no real concerns.
She goes out with lots of family members now, and over time I've just got used to that, and I think that's just about my personality more than anything. But I know that they know the importance of ensuring that she has that and speaking to me if they have any problems, just so that we can discuss if she needs to take it again, if she's been sick or she's struggling to take it.
Only myself, his nan and his dad would ever give him his protein substitute, so I didn't get too many people involved, and they were just told to just give it him. He had to have it, so whether it took them 2 minutes or 2 hours, they had to sit there and do it.
So in the mornings, what I'll do to make it easier for the teacher at school is give them a little pot with her pre-measured amount of paste in there. They have a syringe there, so obviously the syringe is just to make sure that they give her the correct amount of water in the paste every day, make it consistent. I think it just makes life easier for the teacher. They've obviously got 30 children to look after, so I'll try and make it as easy and manageable as possible for them.
We were advised to, from the start, say to him, this is so you don't have a poorly head, you know, this is important. So he's too young to understand it, but we're reinforcing the message all the time. We don't finish until the pot is scraped and every last bit that we can give him is in. Any that's spilt on his bib, it's scraped up and put in.
Alfie's very independent. He's got a very good knowledge about his diet. Since he's been small, I've always involved him with anything. He's enjoyed cooking, trying new things. I've always been very matter of fact, so he's always been involved in all the events that have been organised for PKU, and I've been open and honest. He'll weigh out his own exchanges, work out protein levels. He's very good.
She realises, obviously now that she's at school, that it's only her in the class that's taken this. How come that, you know, other people aren't? And yes, I could sit there and feel sorry for her, but I don't. I just don't. I just explain to Eva like a grown-up, you know, the reason why she takes it. It is what it is. You know, I speak to Eva like she's a grown-up. I do explain, you know, her condition to her, why she has to have that. If she didn't have it, what would happen? You know, she understands why she needs to take it. She's really good at taking it. I can trust her. It's just, I forget about it. It's just, you know, we live normal lives. I go to work, we go on our holidays. It just doesn't get in the way of anything, and you will get there.
Matt, my husband, we work well together. We've thought long and hard how to deal with it, and we've realised that one person really needs to take the lead with it, because if you're both trying to lead with it, messages can be lost. If ever he feeds Stanley or hands over, because he hands over to nursery and my parents when they look after Stanley, he knows the ins and outs of it all, so we work really well together as a team. And the other person mainly is my mum. She's been really good. Someone just to sound ideas out and say, okay, is he meant to be eating things like this, or should he be feeding himself by now? That's been brilliant.
Probably the first piece of advice I would offer to any new mums is to batch. Batch like the local supermarket is going to close, and all of the fruit purees and all of the vegetable purees, get an extra freezer if you need to, because that's really helped with me going back to work, and having those foods in the freezer and having the low protein foods in the freezer to just pull out when we get home from work. We're not worrying about what to feed her each day.
Children are finding it difficult to do it, to sort of encourage them. Maybe things like little reward charts, they've helped us. And just praise really, when they, you know, when they've finished it, just give them lots of praise and, you know, just be proud of them. And that's worked for us really.
Be persistent and consistent. Do the same thing every time. We never miss a session. He has it every single day at the same times.
Be positive, and I would say that's followed through every scenario that we've had, every difficult time that we've felt that we've had, to be positive and to take advice from the professionals.
So to any new mums that have to obviously give pace to their child, I would just say be positive, persistent. Persistence will definitely, it'll pay off.
Be open-minded, be very matter of fact, it is what it is. Attend all events because the support is fantastic. Alfie is brilliant, he's got a lot of friends with PKU, so it isn't as bad as it first seems when you first hear that diagnosis.
When Stanley was first diagnosed and I was so upset, my mum said to me, don't let this spoil this special time for you, and I think that stuck with me all through, and we've tried to just enjoy all the bits as much as we can, even though they have to be slightly adapted.